Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, welcome to another episode of 94 Feet Podcast. It's your boy Big Zeke. I'm in the building with my brothers Kesey.
What's good, good people?
I'm also in the building with my brother Dre.
Yo, what up, everybody? 94 Feet Nation. What's good?
How y'all been doing today, man? How y'all week been going?
Man, it's been a busy week, man. I feel like this week has been 2-1. So I'm just looking forward to Thanksgiving.
You feel
break,
like
man.
this week has been what?
2 weeks and one, meaning
okay.
it's been
I thought
busy.
you said two. You said two. I'm like, okay, what?
It's been busy, man. It's been a busy one, but a good one.
Oh, okay. That's
But a
good,
good
man. That's good, man. So you want to go ahead and start the injury report?
Been
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Busy. I know you not talking.
So
All right, let's
back to
get
the
a
injury report.
Go ahead. You got it, Keith. Go ahead.
Go ahead with the injury.
The injury report. Boston's. Hey, man. Ever since we gave you your job back, you've been acting real bossy again, hasn't he?
Did you hear how he said that?
I'm just trying to.
Ever since we gave you your job,
I already said I'm just ignoring it, and just so he can just kind of move on.
No, I don't want to move on because you're bossing me around again.
I'm not bossing around. I just
And then you co-signing, man.
I just want you to read the report. Injury
So,
report.
back to the injury
report. Thank you.
It would be our humor if we didn't start off with a little drama. Okay. Fake drama, that is. Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown, hamstring, out a few weeks. Brooklyn Nets, Nick Claxton, illness, out for a couple of weeks. Players that make you say, who? Dallas Mavericks, Maxi Kleber, strained. He has a strain. What is that? I never heard of that one before.
That's the reason why you're reading the report. So it's a strain, like optical or something? Oblique.
My bad. Out for 7 to 10 days.
Why don't you guys Google it and see what
It's all good. We shouldn't even said his name because who is he? But anyway,
He's a starter.
but that
the
means
Dallas
good.
Mavericks. That didn't have, wouldn't have to do
Listen,
anything.
listen, there's a lot of starters that me and Kesey both have been like, who?
Yeah. That means you should expand your
Who?
NBA knowledge.
Oh, here you go again, throwing out, telling us what to do. Jeremy Lamb, I can read that one. Ankle out. Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James is out this time with an abdomen issue, man. He has a lot going on in his older age, but he's still playing.
He's
Anthony,
not playing.
he plays not frequently. Every now and then he'll get a game. He played in the Cleveland game. He played in the Cleveland game.
Since he's had this injury, he's been out. That's why it's under injury.
Anthony Davis,
Yeah,
sprain. Stop telling me what to do, man. Shut up. Sprain right thumb. He's playing through it. And the Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton, COVID-19. He is out 10 to 14 days. He did not play any of the last 3 games. As well as the Bucks still has those other built-up injuries. Brook Lopez, Dellavedova. Who else is out for the Bucks? Holiday's back. In a limited role. Philly, Danny Green, hamstring. Jeez. Tobias Harris, COVID-19. Suns, DeAndre Ayton, lower leg. He is out. A lot of injuries in the NBA, and those are just the ones we reported.
Yeah. Those are the most significant injuries out of the injury report. So, the Lakers in OKC went at it again, which people are saying is they're going to win. But they lost again after losing by 19.
Without who?
Without LeBron James.
The word is oblique. He has an injured oblique.
You know what it is?
Go ahead.
It's an abdomen muscle.
It is an abdomen muscle.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we can get that straightened out.
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
The world might want to know.
Right. And I can admit when I don't know a word.
I just said, hey, I'm glad we got that straightened out. So was Russell Westbrook horrible game?
Oh my God, he's playing terrible.
Anthony Davis had a good game. I think he had like 20-something points, whatever. But they did play without LeBron James. Reason I brought this up because it just reminded me of something that Charles Barkley said like in the preseason, like the first week of the NBA. He says Anthony Davis, not LeBron James, not Westbrook, but Anthony Davis is probably the most important person on this Lakers team. And if he's not healthy, if he isn't at his top level, they're not going to succeed. Yes or no? Is that true or false?
False.
We're talking about Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
True. True.
Kesey, you want to explain your false? Now, first of all, are you putting this all on LeBron? I was going to put that out there.
Oh, here we go again.
I was wondering if you put it all on
Let
LeBron.
me just sit back and take a
I'm
break.
gonna just say this:
Go ahead.
there's only 2 players in the league right now
Mm-hmm.
that you can throw on any team, and I guarantee you they consider contenders:
Steph Curry and LeBron.
KD and LeBron.
Okay.
But you missed it. So here's why that argument is getting a little tired.
No,
You've used it for the past 3 episodes. Okay? You've used it for the past 3.
okay.
And to be fair, the Lakers have sort of sucked it up. But we've seen LeBron without AD as well, and we saw the Lakers suffer. We saw the Lakers struggle. So if Anthony Davis isn't the guy or he's not healthy, Lakers don't stand a chance because Westbrook's not getting it done right now.
LeBron hasn't played with Westbrook by himself without Anthony Davis. He's played with Dennis Schroeder without Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's a difference in Schroeder and Westbrook?
Well, right now, who can tell?
I can tell because, Dennis Schroeder is averaging maybe like 10, 15 minutes a game. And Russell Westbrook is getting like 30 minutes a game. So when you have 30 minutes a game and you score 8 points or even less than that, I don't know.
But how rare is it he scores 8 points?
It's more often than it should be.
8 points?
I'm saying as far as I don't say 8 points. I'll give you that. But what I'm saying is,
how many times did Dennis Schroeder win a game without scoring?
Dennis Schroeder, whatever his name is, he's not. You can't compare them to because you have a guy who's a Hall of Famer and you have the guy who is, I don't want to say lucky he's in the league, but he is a significant part of the bench, not the starting lineup. So you really can't compare the two.
But he was a starter when he was in LA.
He was going to up the bench, wasn't he?
No,
I thought Randall was starting.
No, he was a starting point guard.
He was starting point guard. He earned that starting spot, but that was his second time starting because in OKC behind Russell, he was coming off the bench, and then when Russell left, he was starting. What do you mean it doesn't matter? You can't compare the two. Just like, well,
he can't be objective.
I know, and that's sad, but I get it. You're a fan.
LeBron is the horse who makes that show go, whether you want to admit it or not. Without Bron, there is no Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay.
So what you're saying is Los Angeles Lakers wouldn't even be on our agenda right now if LeBron James wasn't there.
No, I just wanted to ask this question. I just wanted to ask her real quick. Just get a real quick answer from
Okay, well, you got your answer. Let's move on.
He didn't talk so much trash. I done forgot the question. Can you ask the question again? He just spent 6 minutes ranting on LeBron and the Lakers. Ask the question again.
The question was, is Anthony Davis has to be the best player for this team to succeed?
I think so, because at the end of the day, as a Michael Jordan super fan, okay, one of the things that is most challenging about Michael Jordan's legacy, I'm sorry, Mr. Exec Producer, you might have to edit that loud mic noise out there. Thank you. As a Michael Jordan long-term fan, some of the things that we hate to see is people come at his legacy. And I'm just going to say it as a LeBron fan. He's getting older. He is not the LeBron of 10 years ago. He's not even the LeBron of 5 years ago. We have to accept the fact that as great as he is, LeBron is on the decline. He is on the decline. And it doesn't mean that his skill set is gone. Doesn't mean that he still can't help his team win the championship. It just means that the pressure on him to be Superman LeBron is gone. It has to be. Anthony Davis is the future of the Los Angeles Lakers, not Russell Westbrook, not LeBron. LeBron might have 2 more seasons in him after this season. He might have 2 more. Westbrook, who knows if the Lakers will even want to deal with that headache in the coming years. So Anthony Davis has to be healthy. He has to take the team and put the team on his back in order for the Lakers to be in the playoffs against the Golden State Warriors, who I picked to have the best record in the Western Conference. So, yes, Anthony Davis has to be the man for the Lakers to be competitive. I'm sorry. What do you think?
I'm glad you asked.
They stand a better chance with Carmelo being.
Wow. I say I agree with you. I kind of agree with you, Dre. I kind of agree with everything you just said. Just because as great as LeBron has been in the past and still is, you have to decide. Well, Father Time is undefeated. And so,
Yes, it is.
as far as LeBron want to play until him and his son can get on one team one day and all that, kind of see how that is. If your body shut down, your body shut down. I don't know if I said this last week or not, but I heard an analyst compare LeBron James to like a broken down Scottie Pippen. Oh, now this week
that's a little far.
I heard this week that LeBron is looking like Kobe of old, where he kept getting injured. And when he can he can do his thing and stuff like that, but he's getting up there to where he's constantly being injured. And he's more of a hindrance than a compliment to this team.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get you guys input on that.
And let me just add, LeBron fans and LeBron as a player have to understand that's okay. That's okay that he is declining. It doesn't take away from his greatness. When Kobe, his last season was god awful, but people still call him the second greatest player of all time in a lot of circles. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
LeBron has nothing to lose other than damaging his legacy if he plays and he can no longer play to that level that we're used to. Because people judge everything he does.
That's true.
LeBron could score 40 points, win the game, and miss a free throw. They'll still say, but he missed a free throw. Right? LeBron could win the championship, and they'll still say, but Kyrie hit the shot. You know what I'm saying? LeBron could win the championship, and they'll say it was in the bubble. So there's nothing that the man can do that will stop his naysayers from riding him anyway. Nothing at all that they'll do. So LeBron has...
Give him a round of applause, guys.
So LeBron has nothing to prove. And if he's going to be on a decline, I would suggest he just rides off into the sunset and do it with some dignity and pride so he can be remembered as explosive. Because, again, Jordan fans, we don't even talk about the Washington Wizard years because they were terrible. Mm-hmm. We don't want to remember Michael from the Wizard years at 40.
But nobody's going to scrutinize him for that, though, because why?
Because he's Mike.
Well, I mean, when it's all said and done, we're not going to keep scrutinizing LeBron James. But if you in the game, that's just what it is.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? So, sorry for LeBron. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
That was a perfect sound bar.
Anyways.
So, yeah. Well, anyways, I just wanted to kind of just touch on that real quick. So the Boston Celtics. Last week I think this past week the Boston Celtics lost to a red hot Chicago Bulls team, and then
red hot.
The thing that was not that they lost to them, but the Bulls came back from like 19 down in like the fourth quarter and then won the game by like 14. And I think they had like no defensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, which is like happening the first time in NBA history. But after that game, Marcus Smart had some candid comments about the team that mainly surrounded Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And it goes as, I quote, "I can only do so much standing in the corner. Everybody's scouting report is making Jason and Jaylen try to pass the ball. They don't want to pass the ball. And that's something they're going to have to learn." Now, after this, they had a game in Orlando. They won the game in Orlando, which whatever. But before that game in Orlando, they had a player only meeting, and so they can address these issues and his comments and stuff like that. In the midst of, well, I will say this: we don't know what went on in the player only meeting, but in the player only meeting, it wasn't helpful. That's what I got from that. From what I heard is from different reports and stuff like that. It wasn't helpful. It was just they were just there to air out their grievances, and that was it. And
a bunch of young dogs.
I don't say just a bunch of young guys. These are veteran NBA players, and two of these guys are making over 100 million.
Who's the veteran?
Jason Tatum,
they're
and
not really considered veterans. They still young in the game.
they
man.
5 years in.
Man, they still young. That's
Well,
young.
I'm sorry, 4 or 5 years ago. That's young, but these are still veteran NBA players.
No, that's not considered veteran.
And when you have, okay, let me ask you this, because we're just gonna get into this. We're just gonna get into the state of the Boston.
You don't get to the vet status until you get about 8 or 10 in. At least 8 or 10 in.
Okay, let me ask you this question then. Both of these guys are under 25 or 20. They're under 25.
So they're not a veteran.
So I don't expect them to be leaders. And that to me, when you have a coach, this is a first year coach, and then you have what's going on in the front office. Danny Ainge has left this team in a somewhat of a debacle state. Because, and to be honest with you, from what I hear, is that the same stuff that's been going on in Boston has been going on ever since Brad Stevens was there. And it's kind of like what's really good here. And I hate to see it because you have these guys who are two guys making over 100,000. You have two over 100 million. You have veteran players in like Al Horton.
One of my listeners said A+ is a veteran.
A+, I give you that. I'll give you that.
But listen, hold on.
But hold on a second though. Even if you do, let's say they are young guys because they're under 25. Let's put the age and factor in there too. At some point, if you want to win in Boston, someone has to step up, or they got to go. Jason and Jalen are going to be here for at least 4 to 5 years because they've signed extensions. Go ahead, Dre.
So, geez, y'all just I'm just trying. Okay, first of all,
no, listen. Before we go any further, I called this out a long time ago.
Wait,
you did?
May I? Geez, okay. That's pretty much. I'm quiet because I'm like, it's Marcus Smart, bruh. You are not even on a superstar caliber player.
He's a Draymond Green.
Let me say this about Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's comments.
Hold on.
No. No. Y'all ranted.
Because you know they're sensitive out there.
That's Kevin Durant. That's KD. Sorry, KD, if you're listening at 94 feet. Marcus Smart's comment sounds like a player that wants to be traded. It sounds like he is planning the seed for his departure from Boston because he knows that he's not the man in Boston. He's not going to be the man in Boston, nor should he be taking the last shot in Boston. So his comments about passing the ball toward the end of the game were irrelevant because Tatum usually is the hot man. He usually is. And he is the man that should have the ball in his hand. Marcus Smart sounds like a bitter big brother because he knows that he's not a part of the Boston Big Three era or the Boston era of the future. And he sounds like a man that has planted his seed for the early departure in Boston. I think his comments were way off. They do not need to pass him the ball, especially with the game on the line, especially in the clutch, especially in crunch time. They shouldn't pass him the ball. For him to say that's something they're going to learn, what is your basis for saying that? What is your basis for saying that's something they're going to learn?
Because basically what he's trying to say is one of them has to figure out who's going to be the alpha dog, who's going to be Batman, and who's going to be Robin. And until they figure that out, they can't keep running around acting like everybody the big dog. Because Marcus Smart think he the big dog, like I said before.
I will give you that.
That type of comment he made makes people think he a big dog, like you said.
This is his world.
Like this is his world.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you right, Keezy. I mean, to me, the comments said, you know how sometimes on the team that you see stuff that the person with the ball necessarily doesn't see. And so when Marcus Smart is sitting in that corner and he's watching the defense kind of collapse on Jason Tatum, he like, dude, pass the ball. Like, what are you doing? So I get his perspective. But Keesey, you did call us a long time ago, and I think we agree with you I agree with you when we talked about it last year.
We did. It was on the Boston Massacre episode.
Yeah. So how like Jason Tatum, if you're the man on this team, you need to step up and be the man because you can't be on the sidelines, just scoring buckets and thinking that's going to do something.
My only thing is, I don't think either one of them can be a big dog.
I'm gonna say you something. I'm gonna have a radical. I have a radical idea here because this is also things I've heard. But the rumor is Jason Tatum and Bradley Beal want to play together. Bradley Beal said that's true, but it won't be in Boston, and that to me says a lot. That to me says a lot.
Said that?
Yeah, he said it won't be in Boston, and to me that says a lot because if let's say I think Jason Tatum is going to ask for a trade. And even though, because Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, all three of those guys they've signed their contract extension, like their rookie deal contract extensions, and they're all going to be there for the next 4 or 5 years. So them, like this tree, I don't think, because I think Marcus Smart is a team player. And I think he's a team player. But like I said before, I think he's seeing the defense collapse on them. And he's like, dude, why are you not kicking it out? Marcus Smart ain't that guy, but he can hit that shot.
The problem is Marcus Smart is a smart guy. I'm not gonna lie. He has a good basketball IQ.
Yeah, he does.
But he's not a superstar.
He's not.
And like you said, he's sitting in the corner. He observing all of this, right? He's soaking all this in.
Yeah.
Tatum and Brown just don't seem like
they care.
They care.
They care.
That pretty much sums it up. Like they don't care. Like I got paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know they got that young mentality. Like I got paid, so I ain't worried about nothing else. If it don't work, it don't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the same time, if you that type of caliber of player like Tatum is, you gotta sit down and take note to what situation you in, and he has to be the face of the organization.
Yeah.
If he's not the face of the organization, that team is not going to go.
I'm talking about Tatum.
Yeah.
Brown is good. But he's not.
He's
top
a little
dog good.
To me, especially this season, because I watched a couple of their games. Brown, like Jaylen Brown has the skill set to quote unquote be the leader of this team. I think that going back to what you first said, like a bunch of young guys just kind of like playing ball together, so they don't have that. And then Al Horford, even though he's a veteran, he isn't of their caliber, so they don't respect his skill set to kind of straighten this type of stuff out. And when you have, because I think, like I said before, be honest with you, I think Tatum's going to ask for a trade the next 2 years.
He reminds me of a young Kobe.
He reminds me of a young Kevin Durant. Because he's like 6'8", long reach, and he can get the shots off. Jaylen Brown kind of reminds me of D Wade, of a young D Wade, where he can get to the bucket too, but he has a better jumper. So when you have these type of two guys, I don't know. I'm trying to think like what player I can put in there. But let's say for some oddball reason, Bradley Beal was to come over to Boston. He would be the guy they would respect and kind of like to straighten this out, because if you don't have no veteran player here to just kind of like make these guys step their game up, it's going to be one of those situations where
I got an interesting comment in my live. It says Marcus Smart is not a point guard. They putting too much on him playing outside his role in Boston. Boston ain't been good in 3 or 4 years, and they're not the same team they were 3 or 4 years ago.
But what happened?
But they got talent with no identity.
That's on point. Who said that?
Reg.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Shout out to Reg. Thanks for listening, bro.
That's a good point. I mean,
that's pretty much sums it up. They got talent, but no identity.
Well, part of go ahead.
No, I was going to say I was going to ask the question, how do you get that identity?
Well, part of it comes down to coaching. Their coach, who had a terrible season, was promoted to the president.
That's true.
I'm saying, I mean, where did that happen in America? But their coach he has to figure it out. And again, I think that we also have to remember, as anxious fans, it is still early in the season. It is still early, but we can't keep using that excuse, right? We're hitting the 10-game mark.
50 wins over or under.
You know, Boston?
Yeah.
Way under.
Way under.
Way under. Boston
if
might be fighting for a final seat in the playoffs. Have you looked at the Eastern Conference and the competitive swagger just within the first 10 games? You have Miami, you have Chicago, you have Philly, you have Indy. You have some teams that are really competitive this time who were not competitive in previous years. I didn't mention the Bucks because the Bucks are off to a rocky start, but we know they'll be in it. Mm-hmm. You have Brooklyn, obviously. I didn't mention Brooklyn. You have the Knicks, who are for once looking like a team that can be competitive. You know what I'm saying? Even the Wizards. So for Boston, for us to just automatically put them in a playoff picture, they're going to be They're going to be fighting to get there.
I didn't put them up on the playoff picture. I'm saying, do you think they'll get 50 wins over or under?
Way under.
40?
Way possibly 40, 41, maybe 42.
My question is, though, if you're in Boston right now, who can you bring in that system to fix it?
That's what I was going to say.
And
was
okay?
Go ahead.
Who did you bring in, and what one player do you get rid of? Because somebody got to go.
Well, Marcus Smart I'm surprised they didn't fine him for actions detrimental to the team, because that's usually how they fine when you go off the record or on the air criticizing your teammates. They usually fine you for that.
Not all the time, but
it happens more than you think. That's why Ben Simmons got fined. Before he went crazy, they fined him for not coming into the team huddle.
Yeah,
because it was standoffish. That is
not the team huddle because he got kicked out of practice.
Well, but that's detrimental. Those comments, we know from the NBA, egos are big with all these millionaires, and when you go on public and you make comments like that, what do you think happened when they got into the locker room? There was probably some separation of players, right? There was probably some.
Oh, you talking about Boston?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All of those things, and so when you look at a very, very dynamic Eastern Conference, right? Especially with the Sixers, the Heat, and the Bulls, Boston is going to have some troubles being competitive in this new Eastern Conference. That's just me. But to answer your question, Tatum is the franchise player. Boston will not trade him.
I'm saying
he's not going anywhere.
To answer Kesey's question,
he's not going anywhere. It's Marcus Smart.
The answer
your question. You ain't gonna get nobody from Marcus Smart, though.
But you don't have. You can get some draft picks. Danny Ainge. I don't know if he's still around. I think he left.
Draft picks is not going to help them right now.
It's not now. It's the future.
The future.
OKC built their original team with draft picks, and it worked great for them. They picked up Durant. They picked up Westbrook. They picked up Harden.
They had to be last place for picks.
But the bottom line is they were patient enough, and they built their team through the draft.
There'll never be another draft class like that.
Well, that's what we think. I mean, Ike was here last week, and he said the best was 96, but others would say the best was the LeBron draft class. Yeah. So there's always competitive draft classes. There may not be, the LeBrons or the draft class of 96, but there will be another time where college basketball players will be sought after like they are in other eras. So let's not think that the word never doesn't exist in sports, because we said we'll never have another draft class like LeBron. What happened? We haven't had another draft class, but people had star players.
Like who?
Star players since LeBron? Let's see. Not on LeBron's caliber, but players that came in after LeBron. Steph came in after LeBron. Right. Clay came in after LeBron. Right? Giannis came in after LeBron. He can't. These are all facts.
These are all facts.
These are all facts.
Going back to your question, what you asked for, Kesey. I'll say this: new coach.
He is new, though.
I said new coach, not a first-year coach.
Okay. I got what
I say new coach.
You're not saying they should go out and find a new coach.
No, I see
that's like a problem.
I think they need a veteran coach.
Okay.
I think they need.
They need more than a coach.
Here's the dilemma: a veteran player who is in a situation that he's not a big fan of, like Kyrie Irving. No, we tried that. So I'm trying to think like a player that I don't know. I mean, to be really honest with you, I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, and
but I think it starts with coach. I think it starts with coaching, and you have to go from there because this first year coach with a bunch of young guys who he hasn't even taught college. I don't know his resume, but I know he hasn't taught college. And one of his highlights when you break down his resume is he's engaged to Nia Long. Now, is that he's engaged to Nia Long?
Oh, he used to be an assistant coach for the Spurs, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he used to be an assistant coach for the Spurs.
So it's one of those things where like,
and I only do that because you said Nia Long. So he's a celebrity, is what you're saying. He's a celebrity.
I mean, I was trying to say it, but you keep interrupting me. So,
man, you interrupted me like 3 times.
I did.
Man. You did.
Is he from the Spurs?
He is from the Spurs.
He's from the. Are you talking about player?
Yeah,
no.
He played for the Spurs, didn't he?
He
got a ring, don't he?
He was a coach.
He was a coach.
He was a coach for the Spurs.
No, he played for the Spurs too, bro.
You sure?
Emi Udoka?
I think he played for the Spurs.
I
think he was there when Tim Duncan and them was winning their championship.
We can figure it out.
Greg can look it up.
Finish your thoughts.
But what I'm saying is, I think you need a veteran coach, somebody like Rick Carlisle that used to coach in Dallas, somebody who knows the game, somebody players respect that can, you have situations like this, and I mean like I said before, I can't think of a player off the top of my head right now where
he coached for the Spurs, right?
He played for the Spurs in 2007, 2008, and 2010.
And he coached for the Spurs too.
Oh, okay.
From
so he's one of those
to 2019.
All right, so he's one of those guys.
So he's from the pop system.
Yeah, that doesn't make it better.
It doesn't, but if you look at the players from the pop system, that's what happens. Look at our coach. Our coach is from the pop system.
Our coach is from the pop system, but what I'm saying is he's a veteran coach. Like he left the pop system and went to Atlanta when they had a winning record. Like they were, if they didn't face LeBron, they were probably going to win it that year. So it's one of I said they didn't face LeBron. Relax, Keezy. So it's one of those things where
Monty Williams, he's from the pop era. He's from the pop coaching.
All right.
chain.
The point I'm making is before we going down this rabbit hole that
Mike Brown. I'm just saying, man. Like you saying it. I'm saying that before. No, it's the reason I'm saying this is because you're already firing a coach after 10 games.
I'm firing a coach that can't get when you have not even better. If you have superstar players on your team and you can't get them to work together to where that, because whether you like it or not, Marcus Smart is probably the third best player on that team. Yeah, what do you raise your hand for?
Because at the end of the day, they're grown men, right?
They are grown men,
and a coach can only do so much.
So if they're not listening to the coach, isn't it time to get rid of them?
No.
So what are you saying,
bruh?
No, are you saying that an NBA player? So you saying an NBA player can change the atmosphere instead of the coach?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
It only take one good veteran. It takes
can't think of
one good locker room veteran.
I can't think of one. Give me a veteran that is in a situation that he can leave and make Boston better.
That can leave. Let me see.
So here, let me just answer that question for you, so you can stop thinking. Nobody's flocking to the Boston Celtics. Okay, Dennis Schroeder was signed out of mercy. He didn't want to go there. He was the last player signed almost in all of free agency. There is no one sitting around the table saying, "Man, let's go unite in Boston." Not anymore. The Kevin Garnett era is over. So there's no one sitting behind the table. I'm sorry, Jason Tatum, as good as he is, there's no superstars or major veteran player that's saying, let me go to Boston and help these young guys win championships. Because veteran players that go to teams are either looking for a final payday or to win a title. Mm-hmm. The Blake Griffins of the world, the Dwight Howards, the Carmelo Anthonys, they're going to teams that can compete for championships. Boston will not compete for a championship for the next 1 to 4 years.
Same thing about Phoenix, though. Before when Chris Paul went to Phoenix, hold on a second. When Chris Paul went to Phoenix, they were a playoff team at best, but they end up making it to the NBA Finals.
They made it to the finals with a hurt Los Angeles Lakers.
They made it to the finals, though. You can downplay it all you want to. They still made it to the finals.
I don't.
And Chris Paul, a veteran, made that. What made was a big difference. I think you could say he's more of the difference than Monty Williams.
I'm gonna take.
Let him finish.
I'm done. Go ahead,
Let me
Kesey.
go before you go any further. I'm telling you right now, what's gonna fix the Boston situation is they need them a veteran point guard who can make everybody better.
So I'm asking you guys.
No.
If you can't think of one,
the only person that I see that can go to Boston right now at this moment that can help them is probably a point guard like Rondo.
I can see it.
So
because he doesn't need to score because you got Brown.
You
and Tatum.
have two scores.
You got two scores. You got your defensive player right
you
here.
got defensive
Smart,
player.
and you need a veteran point guard.
Smart veteran player. Okay.
Who has intelligent basketball IQ.
So we are well, I and Kesey are voting for the Rondo return. I like that.
They need a Rondo return.
I like that.
Because Rondo also ain't gonna take no mess either.
He ain't. And you can he has players respect.
Let me say this before we move on. You use Chris Paul as an example. That was a bad example because Chris Paul is a veteran, but he is still considered a highly sought after point guard. Okay, the Chris Paul sweepstakes, had he not signed with Phoenix, would have been crazy.
He got traded to Phoenix.
That's what I'm saying. But he re-signed he opted out and signed a long-term deal.
And why did he do that?
Because he got the 5th year. So money stretches a little longer from the business.
And also why?
Because they are a competitive team.
And they went to the finals last year.
So the point I'm making is when you talk about Chris Paul going and doing that for Phoenix, slightly different. Because Chris Paul, although again he's getting up there like LeBron, Chris Paul is still an elite point guard in this game.
I'm not that when I said Chris Paul, and I gave the example of the Phoenix Suns, when he went to Phoenix Suns, they weren't they're finals bound. And your argument was Boston, no one's running to Boston. No one's running to Phoenix. All those guys that they have on Phoenix, they were drafted there. Mm-hmm. And the big hype around Phoenix was before Chris Paul got there was Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. So this 1-2 punch is going to be dangerous, but they still kind of they sucked it up and so on and so forth. Then they got to the bubble and they were still looking like a decent playoff team, but nobody was saying, this team is getting to the finals. Only after Chris Paul got there, and they didn't send him there going, they got something special here. Because you can tell Boston has something special. And the person who Kesey just quoted saying they just need a leader. Rondo fits that bill. Rondo fits the bill. He doesn't cost a lot.
Exactly.
He don't cost a lot. He is a leader that people can respect. They understand, and he has a high basketball IQ. You have 2 scorers. You have a defensive person there. I think that's it.
Not to mention, he got a championship there.
Exactly. So it's not like the fan base would embrace him right away.
So we're now saying this, assuming that Rondo wants to go and play fixer-upper. Rondo joined the Lakers because he wants another chance to win a title. Rondo's not looking to go nowhere and be the veteran that gets a team in line. He wants to try to win another title so he can ride off in the sunset with his 3 rings. Why would he want to go back there?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
let me just ask you a
more
question.
Money.
Let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Do you think Boston would be a more competitive team if they added a veteran like Rondo? Or do you think they would be in the same position they're in now?
I think they'll be a more competitive team, but again, I think our commentary is based on 10 games in.
All of our commentary is based on 10 games.
Oh, I know.
We are eyeballing it. We're eyeballing this. So
I'm saying
wrong, we could be right, but what I'm saying is from the eyeball perspective, from what you see, what you've seen, not the 10 game. I'm talking about from what you see, team chemistry and such and such and such. Because you like to cut people just 10 games in and stuff like. No,
it's true.
That's true.
It's true. The commentary doesn't cancel out that we've been 10 games in.
You sure? Because that's how you use
Absolutely not. Because when we get to 30 and 40 games, then we'll really be talking about we're 40 games in the season, and this team is still the same way. So what I'm saying is, for the Boston Celtics, is there some trouble in Celtic land? Absolutely. Should they hit the panic button? Not just yet. Rondo there, fine. It doesn't do anything for him. What, it makes him an 8th seed? Maybe. Doesn't take him through the playoffs, does it?
I think it does.
Okay.
Adding Rondo, I think you are taking your team from the bottom of the barrel to a fifth, fourth spot.
Okay.
They will compete a lot harder with a point
and then on top of that,
he's a general, that's for sure.
having Dennis Schroeder on the bench. That's all you need. Because you don't need Rondo to run. You don't need Rondo to have 30 minutes, 20, 25 at most.
Yeah.
And if you look at the Boston Celtics roster, it's really not that impressive. I don't know if y'all.
Oh, I looked at it.
It's not that impressive.
I've looked at it. It's not one of those rosters where you see like, oh, championship. And that a lot of names doesn't equal out to we're going to win a championship.
It doesn't.
The Lakers is proof of that.
Yeah,
okay.
It doesn't. And I think Boston's really, and the word that none of us used on this episode, the Boston Celtics are rebuilding. The Boston Celtics are rebuilding.
Outside of Tatum and Brown, you look at their roster.
It's terrible.
I don't think there's nobody else that would have a guaranteed spot on another team.
It's terrible. Maybe Horford. Maybe if you need a big off the bench to crash some boards.
He's getting up there.
Horford's so old now.
He's getting up there.
His kneecaps touching now. He
done.
He's done. He barbecue chicken. Like Shaq said.
So not top 5 or top 6. But anyways,
Robert Williams.
You
know who that is?
I do.
Cantor.
We are I think me and Keith are
Pritchard.
going for
Bruno Fernando.
We're vetting for
Williams.
Rondo. We're vetting for Rondo to join.
Jabari Parker.
Boston.
Broderick Thomas.
No, we can't be clowning Boston like that, y'all.
Yeah, we already did.
Oh, y'all did. It's too late now. So another interesting story that was in the NBA that was going around the NBA news. Oh boy, it was going to the NBA news this past week was the Scottie Pippen debacle.
Ooh,
and his
Scottie
Pippen. So Scottie Pippen has a book coming out. It's called Unguarded.
Oh God.
It's coming out next week Tuesday. And are you guys gonna check it out?
I will.
I will get a copy.
Okay.
I'm a Scottie fan. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm a Scottie fan.
I mean, to be honest with you, to sell his book, I'm just gonna start to print stuff with like that. To sell his book, and in the book, he was talking about how about Jordan, about how him and Jordan were never like best of buddies, they weren't friends, and how he really didn't like some of the stuff that Jordan did, but he just kind of kept his mouth shut. And also some of the stuff he did. I don't like hate Scottie Pippen for all the stuff he said. And some of the stuff he said was true. I think us watching The Last Dance, we can see that Jordan, as big as fans we are for him, we can see that he was somewhat of excuse my language, he was a dick. He was an asshole.
Most of the great ones are.
And I think that now that we're in 2021, a lot of these guys couldn't handle really playing with Jordan as they think they could. And it's when it's guys as competitive as Michael Jordan, it's all about winning. So your feelings are secondary. And for somebody like Scottie Pippen, I think Scottie Pippen said he feels like disrespected. He said he feels like Jordan treated him, Dennis Rodman, Phil Jackson like props, and like he said. And he was just saying, like he said, he felt like Jordan was selfish. One incident he was talking about was how he decided to decide on his retirement at the last minute before the 94-95 season. And so they couldn't even pick up any free agents, and they were just kind of like stuck with the team that they had. And, my thoughts on this are my thoughts on this are real simple. Scottie Pippen was amongst the greatest 50th players in this NBA history. He is, even though he has always been Robin to Michael Jordan's Batman, that doesn't change the fact that he has a significant part in that 6 championship run, being one of the all-time greats, being on the dream team. Like, it doesn't take away from his accomplishments. It's saddened that two of the greatest players of all time aren't best of buddies, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and life isn't fair like that. So for him to sit here and just kind of like, I ain't gonna say dog Jordan out, but kind of like talk about Jordan like this and just kind of like let it be, like let bygones be bygones, I think it's just kind of sad, to be honest with you. And I think he's just trying to sell books.
You think it's sad that he is doing this book?
No, I think it's sad that he felt the go public with these comments.
So
if you want to talk about this among your peers or your friends, or you and somebody you shooting the shit with somebody, then go ahead. But once you take it to this level of publicly talking about one of your all-time greatest teammates, I think this is kind of petty, and it's sad.
Okay,
so then you might agree with this headline right here. It says Scottie Pippen is angry and bitter, but that doesn't mean he's wrong.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That pretty much sums it up.
That would pretty much sum it up for me. I mean, how can you not
Jordan fan fuming over here?
I know he is. That's why I keep interrupting him. I know he's waiting. I know he's ready to get. I know he's ready.
But the thing about it is, like, as much as Dre is over here fuming about this because we're talking about his boy,
yeah, the baby dropped my phone, man.
He can't deny that Jordan was a-hole. He can't deny that Jordan was a nice guy.
Okay, now y'all talk. Now it's my turn.
All right, here we go.
So
anyway,
no. So here's why I am perplexed by this, okay? When Michael Jordan left the Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen had a chance to be the man.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't come off the bench in the game.
For one game. That was one game, wasn't it?
But he sat down and the Bulls won the game.
Mm-hmm.
When Michael Jordan left the Bulls, Scottie Pippen had a season and a half to prove that he can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Scottie Pippen left the Bulls to prove that he can get it done by joining the Portland Trail Blazers, and he couldn't get it done. Scottie Pippen left the Portland Trail Blazers and joined the Houston Rockets and couldn't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Scottie Pippen is appearing to be a very bitter ex, kind of like Skip Bayless when he talks about LeBron James and Aaron Rodgers. That is how Scottie Pippen is coming off right now, as a very bitter ex. At the end of the day, we all know there is no championships without Scottie Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that. But Scottie Pippen, if you went to the Seattle Supersonics like your draft should have had you, Detlef Shrimp would be getting the Scottie Pippen love, because that's who they were traded for. Listen to what I just said. I am saying that to say that Jordan made Scottie a household name. And if the trade for Detlef and Scottie not went through, he would have made Detlef Shrimp a household name. So what am I saying?
Are you serious?
What am I saying?
You lost your
what am I saying? That Jordan could have took anybody in that number 2 spot and made them great.
No, he couldn't have.
You had your turn. Let me finish.
No, he couldn't have.
You had your turn. Let me finish.
I'm letting you go.
Then stop talking.
Oh, I can talk.
Because you are
going all the way off the wall right now.
No. I am not.
Yeah, you are.
No, Scottie Pippen is going all the way off the wall. You gonna put some respect
on this name. And I ain't gonna say it no more.
Scottie Pippen is my all-time second favorite player. But the fact that he's coming at MJ like MJ didn't do anything to you.
Is MJ a jerk?
That's not.
Is MJ a jerk?
You wear all his sneakers, so what does that have to do with anything?
Is MJ a jerk? Yes or no question. That's a yes or no question.
Michael Jordan, according to sources, was a jerk.
That is a yes or no question. We watched The Last Dance.
You are something else.
Sometimes twice.
Can I finish? No. LeBron.
Okay.
Most of the superstars are hard and tough. But all I'm saying is for you to put out a book and go in on Michael, did you holler at Mike? Did you tell Mike, you know what, Last Dance, this is how I felt? Before you record, can we holler about my role in The Last Dance? This is a publicity stunt. But I also say that to say no one should be surprised by this because Scotty, even in the early debates of the LeBron Jordan debate, Scotty was essing on Mike.
Yeah.
He was killing Mike then. He was saying, oh, LeBron has been better than Michael for a long time. LeBron James is the best player to ever play basketball.
Well, he ain't never lied.
Yeah, he lied big time.
No, that's to you.
And if you think that you drinking and smoking something good.
That's to you too.
Yeah, you smoking something real good.
What you smoking on?
I never smoked anything, but you know, you smoking on something if you think LeBron's better than Mike.
Listen, people, don't do drugs.
But
anyway.
Kids don't do drugs. We're drug free at this table.
It's very interesting that you said that, man.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I totally disagree.
I'm sure you do.
I'm
sure you do.
You could not have threw anybody in that role, and they succeeded the way Scottie Pippen did. It was in his nature to be as good as he was because he didn't need Jordan to score. He didn't need Jordan to get him nothing.
He just needed him to win championships.
No, he didn't.
He didn't do it when he left.
Scottie Pippen would have had a great career regardless.
He didn't do it when he left.
I will agree with both of y'all. I think that Scottie Pippen still would have had a outstanding career.
Absolutely.
But I do not believe he would have won 6 championships.
He didn't
without Mike.
Because he had a chance and he didn't.
He probably wouldn't have won 6, but at the same time,
maybe 1.
He didn't win any.
I'm saying he would have won.
He put the ultimate disrespect on Scottie Pippen just then.
How?
Because he said deadlift shrimp.
You said
they were traded for each other.
I don't give a.
They were traded for each other.
You said deadlift. Look at deadlift.
Listen, I said Jordan could have made Detlef be his Scottie Pippen.
No, he couldn't.
That's what I said.
I
didn't say Detlef was better than Scottie.
But he's nowhere near the
caliber. Those words didn't come out of my mouth.
He's nowhere near the caliber player of Scottie.
Jordan could have
How can you even put them in the same boat? It just so happened they didn't know what either player was going to turn out to be.
Jordan would have had Detlef if that was the card he was dealt. Jordan would have had him as his number 2.
Okay, hold on a second.
See, do you actually believe Detlef Shrimp would have went to Chicago and
said,
made them as good as they was as Scottie Pippen did?
If Jordan had Detlef, Jordan would have made Detlef.
Are you going to stop talking so he can answer the question?
He can answer the question. Don't tell me to stop talking after you done interrupted me with your bullying tactics.
He don't even play defense.
that would. Can I talk?
You can talk you can talk once I say this because you both are kind of acting like fake news here and twisting my words.
I'm not twisting your words.
No, he is. So what I said, I never said Detlef was better than Scottie. Those words never came out of my mouth.
They didn't.
I said that under Michael Jordan, Detlef could have played the Scottie Pippen role, and there is nothing none of y'all could do to change my mind. Do I prefer Scottie? Absolutely, 110%, twice on Sundays. But if Scottie thinks that he could have done it without Michael, he had a chance to do it twice, and he did it neither time. But that's all I'm saying.
Every team that he went to, he didn't have a chance to build that roster. Jordan had a chance to build his roster the way he wanted it.
Go.
Scottie went on teams that was already made.
Go.
I was just gonna say that.
That is terrible.
That's
a terrible analogy.
I'll wait for Dre.
You should. That is a terrible analogy of your sports talk skills. The fact that you said Jordan's team sucked. His team sucked before they got Scottie Pippen. Before Tony Kukoc. Before B.J. Armstrong, the Bulls sucked. Okay, they went to the finals in the late 80s, early 90s, right? And he was getting destroyed. So let's not act like Jordan just let's not act like he pulled a LeBron and joined Magic and Larry Bird to win championships. No, Jordan had to get abused and beat up by the bad boys for many years before he finally figured out how to best work in Phil Jackson's triangle offense, before making Scottie Pippen, before LeBron James the best small forward to ever play the game, right? Before making Ron Harper a household name, right? Before making Kukoc one of the biggest names in the NBA because he played overseas, before making Bill Cartwright still look like he had something to give to the team. So let's not act like Michael didn't help build that team to the greatness that it was.
Didn't I just say that? Ain't that what I just said?
Thank you.
But ain't that what I just said?
Thank you.
How many times did Scottie have that opportunity to do that?
I clap for you because that's what you wanted to, you got that off your chest, and I figured that's what you wanted to hear. Kesey, back to the question that you asked me. Do I think that Detlef Shrimp could have did what Scottie Pippen can do? Nowhere near. Do I think
under
Scottie
Michael Jordan?
Under Michael Jordan.
Finish?
Can I finish? Thank you.
Oh, now you're defending him.
So, do I think that Scottie Pippen? I'll say this. This is what I'll say about Scottie Pippen. I think that Scottie Pippen would have had a great career if he would have got traded wherever he got traded to. But him being matched up with Jordan got him those 6 rings. But counter to what Dre just said, you couldn't just put anybody in there and think that he's going to have the same outcome, because as much as Jordan, quote unquote, made all these guys that you said, they had their part. So if I take away a piece of, if I take a piece off of a statue, that statue might fall. That's kind of a bad.
That was a bad
That was a bad analogy.
That was kind of
But
bad.
the point I'm making is this. The point I'm making is this. You can't just take a piece like Scottie Pippen, who played both ends of the floor, who does, I don't say he does things that Jordan can't do, but the type of player that he is made the Bulls how they are. It's not just Jordan, a bunch of scrubs.
If you don't put that mic back on the stand, I'm gonna slap it
Thank
on the floor.
you, man.
I'm so
you,
sick of
you
you.
said 20 minutes of stuff. So
No, it was like 3.
So my thing about this is, like, you talk about Scottie Pippen and how he sounds. Like I said before, he sounds bitter. He sounds like, oh, y'all not giving me my just due. And he sounds like The Last Dance portrayed him, which was emotional. And that's why he couldn't get it done. He's emotional. Just like when he sat out that one game, that infamous game where he just sat on the bench, he's emotional.
Because the coach didn't want him to take the last shot.
Jordan is not emotional. Jordan wants to win. And I think over the years, he didn't give a damn who or how he won, but he wanted to win. So for you to say, Andre, for you to sit there and say that if you take Scottie Pippen, he had deadlift shrimp, he would have won 6 championships still. I think that's taking it a little bit too far.
I didn't say 6 championships.
And that's how Scottie Pippen thinks people think of him. They think if you take, you can put anybody in that spot. And Scottie Pippen like, no, you can't. I'm the reason that this team got as far as it do. Him, Jordan, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, Phil Jackson. These are the guys who can say, I am the reason this team got to where they are. It's not just Jordan and a bunch of scrubs. Because like you said, Jordan can win his first 7 years with a bunch of scrubs. So I think that Scottie Pippen had took the criticism over the years and was like, hey, I was here too. Like, and I'm not mad at him, but I'm just saying that's what a conversation you shouldn't have had in public between your family and friends, not on a high stage like this.
Okay, now that he's off of swinging from Jordan's nuts.
I know you ain't talking. If I'm swinging from his nuts, what are you swinging from LeBron? Huh?
Can I finish what I'm saying? He's swinging from his left to the right, back and forth.
Go ahead, Keezy.
I can't believe you said that.
I said what I said. Scottie Pippen was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics.
I don't care.
And it wasn't Deadlift Shrimp. Deadlift Shrimp came a couple years after.
So that's why I don't.
He came a couple years after.
But just even think about you talk about Deadlift Shrimp
listen,
and Scottie
man,
Pippen.
Listen,
they're not even in the same category of type of players.
Listen, before you twist the words again.
I'm not twisting nothing.
Listen,
you
what
said
I'm
what
saying.
You said it. You meant what you said.
Listen, what I'm saying is Scottie Pippen was drafted by the Sonics, and he was traded for what I thought was Deadlift Shrimp. And it actually wasn't Deadlift Shrimp. It was Olin Polynice. I don't know if y'all remember him.
Yeah, I know Olin Polynice is.
Yeah. Y'all remember that?
No.
No, you don't. He does. But what I'm saying is,
for the you probably know him because he played for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah. So
that's what most people.
So what I'm saying is
I know what you're talking about.
My analogy was under the assumption that Pippen was traded for Deadlift Shrimp, and I misspoke. Deadlift came in a couple years after Scottie, but I stand by it. It could have been Deadlift Shrimp. It could have been Charles Barkley. It could have been Clyde Drexler.
You are delusional.
I am not delusional because Jordan makes players better.
Do you think Charles Barkley would have took the mess that Jordan was putting out.
Charles
been
Barkley
funny.
and Jordan don't talk now.
I know, because Barkley would have put his hands on him in Chicago.
Barkley dogged him about his ownership tactics. So what I'm saying, people, is I like Scotty. And Scotty was a big part of those championships. I get that.
Are you sure you like Scotty?
Man, Scotty, for a long time, I was a Scotty fan more than a Mike fan until I grew up and got some sense.
I still am.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Till I grew up and got some sense.
Still am.
You know, and Scottie Pippen is great for the game of basketball, but for him to be on the attack like Michael did something to him, what about all the things that Michael helped you do? Do you think Scotty would be in the 50 greatest players if it was just Scottie Pippen in the Chicago
Yes.
Bulls?
Yes.
Okay, so you all have a lot of faith in Scotty.
Okay, man.
Hold up. I said deadlift
You
shrimp.
always tell somebody, hold up. No, you hold on a minute. You wait a minute.
I'm just asking, like I said before, like you acting like Jordan wasn't a jerk.
Jordan was a jerk, but most of the greats are.
Hold on, I'm gonna ask you one more thing.
Is LeBron a jerk?
One more thing. I'm gonna ask you.
LeBron is not a jerk.
Was Kobe a jerk?
Kobe was a jerk.
I'm gonna ask you one thing though.
Go
Ask
ahead.
both of y'all one thing.
Go ahead.
If you were Scotty, just picture you're Scottie Pippen. You're watching The Last Dance. Are you offended, or are you on Jordan's side off of what was portrayed of you in that video?
What was bad about it? Can you tell me what was bad about it? What was bad about Scotty's
about the video? What part of the video did it portray that Scotty was one of the masterpieces to them championships?
What part?
What part of the movie portrayed him to be
Jordan?
No.
Jordan said Scottie Pippen was the greatest teammate I've ever had.
And that's the only thing he ever said positive about.
That's all he needed to say.
He didn't say anything negative about him.
The Last Dance was about Jordan.
And about how emotional Scotty was, and about how Scotty didn't do this and Scotty didn't do that, and how Scotty got screwed out of his money.
Those were facts.
Those were things he shouldn't have had in his documentary.
It
was his documentary.
It was not about Jordan. It was about the Bulls.
Okay, sorry. It was about the Bulls. Those were facts. I'm not saying Scottie Pippen shouldn't feel a way. I'm saying that for you to put it publicly that I don't mess with Jordan, he had such and such, blah, blah, blah. For you to say that publicly around this time and really Dookie on the Last Dance documentary like he was Dookie. He wasn't Dookie on like the Last Dance. He just said, hey, Scotty was this how Scotty was. I think he was being a little bit emotional, so on and so forth. And that's it.
Is that Jordan's job to do that?
Well, he's proving him to be right because what is he right now?
I'm not going all the way off.
When you
he went off the rails.
Okay.
Dre just went off the rails.
Right now?
How?
Right now?
How? You saying that Scottie Pippen can be replaced with anybody? That person that you just mentioned that he can be replaced. No, is that off the rails?
Okay, anybody was off the rails, but y'all acting like Detlef was a scrub. Y'all acting like Clyde was a scrub.
He wasn't no Scottie Pippen.
He wasn't no Pippen, but Jordan could have done it with him.
But Jordan would have got along.
First off,
Jordan would have got along with Clyde because Clyde would have put his hands on him too.
So,
the same way Barkley would have.
Ain't
nobody else could have took that mess from Jordan but Scotty.
Come to the mic, because we can't never hear you in the background. We can never hear you in the background. Come to the mic for us. Could Jordan have got it done? Anybody? Whose side of the argument are you on here?
No, he couldn't have got it done with anybody because you've actually proved it twice. One, there's a whole team that he played on that we don't even want to admit with. That was a bunch of young niggas that he had the opportunity to build up, which was the Wizards. Now, at this point in time, you 6 rings in, you should be dropping knowledge on them. You didn't do nothing. Before Scotty and them got there, what was the Bulls like?
They're terrible.
Trash.
You had 2 opportunities to prove that you can do it with anybody, young and old. You didn't prove it.
That's it, Scotty, though. Scotty had a chance and he didn't get it.
I'm not
you
saying
keep saying Scotty had a choice, but when did Scotty have a chance to be the absolute
Jordan
man
retired?
of the team?
Jordan retired in '93.
So,
did he or did he not?
2 years. 2 years Jordan was gone, right? Houston was the team to beat. They were. Hands down. San Antonio has always been a team you got to live through. Dallas was on their shit. There's no way in hell he could have came out a winner during them 2 years.
You remember
on the West Coast only.
You remember the career of Detlef Shrimp, right?
Of course, that was my boy. I loved him.
Could Detlef played Scotty's role in Chicago?
He could have played Scotty's position.
in Chicago, could Jordan have got it done with deadlift shrimp?
No.
I think he could have, but the impact Chicago had, it wouldn't have been 6 rings.
Okay, that's fair.
It would have been 2
That's fair.
max.
That's fair.
I'd say 1.
That's
No,
fair.
2 max.
That's fair.
2 max.
Because you have to remember, bro, it was 2 3-peats.
Yeah.
It was 2 3-peats.
Thanks to Scottie Pippen.
Thank
Shout out to Scottie Pippen. I've been running 33 since I was 8 years old. Still rock 33.
I know this
My
man
son is
my
gonna
whole-
wear 33.
I know this man my entire life. He's never worked a 33 jersey. But
I was
go
going to
ahead.
say, I've never seen Keezy wear anything Scottie Pippen.
I've
What?
never- I've
I
seen
had
the-
every pair of Scottie Pippens that came
I've seen the
out.
shoes, but ain't no jersey. You ain't no Scottie Pippen fan.
Dude,
Right.
if you ask anybody who really, clearly y'all ain't my real friends. Because if
Well,
you know
I
me,
am. We know
I
you.
didn't even like Jordan
Yeah,
growing
don't
up.
Be like that.
I was a Scottie Pippen fan growing up.
You know, I was, and Dr. Bird, who's probably going to be listening later, it took him and my uncle convincing me that Jordan was better than Scottie. It took them convincing me that in my
But if
younger
it took
age.
somebody else to convince you that Jordan was better than
But I
Scottie,
was 12.
it was something.
I was 12.
12?
I
Come
was
on, man.
12.
By 12, you
No.
already know. You
No.
got hair on your nuts. You know. You know. You know.
Let's be honest here. So Scottie Pippen is an all-time great. And despite what you both said, y'all don't think Scottie's being just a tad bit sensitive and a little out of control with his actions against Michael right now?
I'm not saying that he's out of control. I'm saying that number one, he's selling a book. I'm saying also, he's the comments that he's making are unnecessary,
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
and I think he's
To
he's being petty.
To you,
So you
Yes,
don't think
to
Scottie's
me.
off the record?
I think Scottie is doing everything that he should have done.
Keezy, just because we say blue, you don't have to say green. I just want to put that out there.
I say purple and yellow.
Okay. I just want to put that out there because like I asked you repeatedly. I was like, is Jordan a jerk? And you would find admittedly, yes, he was a jerk. You was like, is LeBron a jerk? I was like, LeBron is not a jerk. Everybody likes LeBron. That's what makes LeBron one of the most popular athletes in the NBA because everybody likes LeBron.
People
But
like
he's
LeBron
also the most
was
scrutinized
the last
athlete in
person-
history.
The last you said what?
He's also the most scrutinized athlete in history.
I'm
give you
sorry.
that.
Is that not part of being in the NBA?
How many times have you heard them scrutinize
Is
Jordan?
that
How
not?
many times have you heard them scrutinize Tom
That's with
Brady,
different times.
one of the greatest quarterbacks of all
That
time?
is a different time.
Tom Brady.
I was just gonna get there.
He's one of the
Tom
most-
Brady is always scrutinized. If
He's
he
one
has-
of the most hated, actually.
Is he?
Yes. He's one of the most hated.
when
actually.
he throws the interception, when he has a bad game, maybe it's time for Tom to retire. So it's not like if that's part of being a athlete in the spotlight. Like you can't sit right and not get away with any type of criticism.
So is that only for generational players? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not saying this for generational players, but I'm saying technology and the media, it depends on the era. Michael Jordan was in an era where they wrote articles about him, but nobody was reading it because it was about Michael Jordan. And then on top of that, you have every outlet. Like it wasn't podcast 20 years ago.
He was in Chicago. The Chicago Tribune was in every newsstand across America.
But that article about Jordan wasn't read among the masses. So
How come it wasn't? When we were kids, if you went to any gas station and got your newspaper, the Chicago Tribune was right there, and everybody.
But if you're talking crazy about Jordan, what made you think I'm gonna read that?
Or in fact, Michael Jordan stopped, and you all may have to fact check me on this. Help me out, Tone, if you remember this. Jordan stopped doing interviews. I think it was with Jim Rome or one of those sportscasters because they said or wrote something negative about him. So Jordan stopped.
Yeah. So
And
now
that
we
was
have
impactful.
So
I
people
agree
couldn't.
with
So
you.
people couldn't do stuff negative about him because he wouldn't do interviews.
something like that
Mhm.
because they had all the.
So Jordan manipulated the media.
Yeah, he had the power. They don't have the power no more like that. Like you can't stop somebody talking bad about LeBron James.
So then it's rightfully respectful that Scottie Pippen comes out and say some of the things that people should have said back then.
everything that needed to be said about Jordan was in The Last Dance.
Everything.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No,
what
it wasn't.
what wasn't said about
Because if it
Jordan?
wasn't,
Hold on. What wasn't said about Jordan in The Last Dance? Negative, positive. What wasn't said about Jordan?
how bad he treated him in Washington.
That was in The Last Dance.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
In Washington?
The only reason they talked about how bad it was.
In Washington?
The only reason they talked about how bad they treated the people in Washington was because of Kwame Brown. That's the only reason people
And Kwame
realize.
Brown deserved it. What's your point?
Oh my gosh!
I mean,
So-
if you really want to go
Y'all-
back there,
Y'all are some filthy animals.
So
Because you were a Kwame Brown yourself, my brother.
was I a Kwame Brown?
Yes.
I was never a Kwame Brown.
You were a good player.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm
You
never
could
a
have been
Kwame
a good
Brown.
player,
Oh,
but
no,
you just
no,
didn't
no.
have.
I wasn't a Kwame Brown because I was never in the NBA making no $18-20 million. You gonna tell me I'm Kwame Brown?
So
We're
what
gonna
was
wrap
I?
this up.
So what was
I'm saying like
No,
every
no.
time you didn't play.
No.
Let me finish. Every time you didn't play good, did we not scrutinize you?
Yeah,
Y'all-
How did
I
that
had
make
the
you?
biggest scrutinizer in my house.
But how
What are
did
you
that make
talking
you? How did
about?
that make you feel?
I literally go home. Isaiah, why you didn't pick them boards? Man,
How did that make you feel?
what do you mean? How that make me feel? It made me go out there and go harder. I didn't quit.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
I never seen you play basketball really after that.
You ain't seen me play basketball in my 30 because I'm old. What are you talking about?
Wait a minute. Let
Zeke is hold on. My only issue is this brother is 6'3".
I'm 6 foot. Now, when we were
And
younger,
out of
that was
everybody
tall.
Out of everybody in that crew, he's the only one that's over 6'2". And he the only one who didn't play high school basketball like he should have.
That was grades. That ain't nothing to do with me, not skill wise.
You didn't really care about playing.
I'm out of this one.
We could go another 2 hours about this.
Who? If he's Kwame, who was I?
You were
You're
the
more like Irvin
equipment
Johnson.
manager.
He's Irvin Johnson from the Bucks.
You the
You
equipment
remember Irvin
manager.
Johnson? He set the record for the most missed layups. That's him.
Your mom.
Time out. Time out. No, time
I'm
out.
listening to.
Is a
Time
very
out.
nice
Mama,
person.
you hear him? You hear
I
him, Mama?
love you. I love
Time
you,
out.
Miss
So,
Pat.
so I'm Kwame Brown. He Irvin Johnson. Who are you?
Who are you?
Probably like Robert Tractor Trailer or something.
Okay, as long as you keeping it real, okay.
I've been battling this weight my whole life, man.
We gonna wrap this up.
Listen, y'all.
We gonna wrap this up.
To understand this podcast in that last 3 minutes, you got to understand us. So this is over for new listeners. This is what 30 plus years.
Yeah. We are hilarious,
of
y'all.
friendship.
And this is what we do. We scrutinize each other just like Jordan scrutinized everybody else.
This is 30 plus years of friendship.
And so we're gonna wrap this up.
No. Wait a second, because you guys still didn't answer the question
What's the
about
question?
Scotty, about Michael Jordan and
What's the-
Scottie Pippen.
What's the question?
Does Michael Jordan now have to respond to Scotty?
No,
He doesn't.
I think he hasn't. I don't think he has. I don't
When
think he
you're
should.
on Michael Jordan's level, there's no need to respond. What's responding would only make him what? Look
Petty
or
Broke.
guilty.
or guilty. I can see that.
Okay.
I mean,
You know
this
what I mean?
this is how Scotty feels.
So
Do I think, like I said before, I don't think he should have said anything about it. Like he's making this a bigger deal than it has to be. Like, man, back in my day, I don't know. This is he's selling a book, so I get it. Publicity, I get it. But
Scotty's just keeping it 100, and y'all don't like it
man,
because that's y'all boy.
we
MJ.
saying blue and you saying yellow.
No, I said purple.
Oh, okay.
So if a book come out about LeBron, you're not going to defend LeBron like I just did, Mike?
No,
Because you said the same thing. LeBron could take any team and make them look good.
he can.
And Jordan couldn't.
Any team.
So
No.
Jordan couldn't take deadlift and make any team look good.
Did
No.
you hear?
Okay.
Did you
Did
hear?
you hear what he just said?
Wrap it up.
Before Scotty, they were trash.
This has been another
After
episode
Scotty,
of the
he was
94
trash.
podcast.
That's what I'm saying. The person you called on the mic, he said the same thing.
I see.
Oh, so he don't want to hear the truth. You see
Yeah,
that?
he-
The truth hurts. The truth hurts. You can't handle the truth.
I'm gonna wrap this up here. This has been another episode. This has been another episode of 94 Feet. It's your boy Big Zeke. I'm here with my brothers Dre.
Yo, great
Here we-
episode. A lot
here-
of fun.
Here
Thanks,
my
Zeke.
brother.
Oh, my
Keith.
bad. We normally say the names and we shout out. Okay, let's do it.
All
again.
right,
Wait, y'all.
It's too late. It's too over. It's over, man. It's over.
Do it again. Do it again.
This has been another episode of 94 Feet. I'm Big Zeke.
I'm Keith.
It's your boy Dre.
You can always catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We're also on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
At 94 Feet Podcast. That's 94 FT Podcast. Listen in, y'all.
All right, peace.
Check us out, good people.